You gotta be, you gotta be.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to You Gotta Be, interview podcast that focuses on the lives and work of women DJs. Today's guest is DJ PP Girlfriend, and we're going to get into this very interesting DJ name shortly. She is a Detroit based DJ that brings a new flavor of tech house and world influence into her musical styles of mixing. An early love of 70s disco, you got me there, and Spanish culture has transcended her unique style into creative and innovative fluidity of dance music. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Now, do I call you PP or girlfriend or DJ?
You could call me whatever you want. My actual name's Sarah. So
Okay. So we got to first get in before we do anything else. We got to get into why DJ PP Girlfriend. I know
Yep.
there's a story there.
That is the question of the hour, and you were definitely not the first person to ask why that name, and what that name is. So what's kind of funny is when I started DJing, I actually had a different DJ name. So my original name was DJ Sarah Rose, which you know because that was the show you came to, and that name was just based off my first and middle name. And I remember when I picked that name, I liked it, but I just felt like there was something missing. I was like, this is an okay name, but I didn't really feel like it was like me. You know, I didn't feel like it was like something that I could like go out there, say my name, and people would be like, well, who is that? You know? So DJ PP Girlfriend, actually, it's a secret.
This isn't breaking news today.
No, not today. When I become famous, then maybe I will give out the secret sauce. But what I really like about the name is it kind of has a little bit of that mystery to it, but it also is a name that's very unique and obviously nobody else has. So I'm a marketing professional, and I like the reason why I think I like it so much is that it's one of those names that like kind of resonates in itself. And you know, what's funny is when I changed it, because I mean I had my other one and then I changed it, I probably had about 20 people ask me, what is this name? What does it mean? And yeah, I mean like I said, it is a secret, but it's something that's close and personal to me and something that I think really fits with like who I am as a DJ and an artist.
I'm going to get National Enquirer on this immediately.
Trust me, you're not the only one.
Well, you know, my name DJ Auld is very specific, and it's AULD, which is Old English for old, because I started DJing at 58. So
I love
so that's
that.
My
though.
little tongue-in-cheek,
Yeah.
Nod to starting late in life. So let's get into the questions. What is the first song you remembered loving as a child and why?
That's a great question. So in my bio, mentioned 70s disco. So when I was a kid, I remember specifically, and I have to actually say a lot of my influence now comes from my mom. So my mom, she grew up in the 70s and she was very into 70s disco. I think the Bee Gees are probably her favorite band still to this day. So she loved 70s disco. She loved jazz. I remember she used to like have her little CDs and she would, put them in the car, like when she was cleaning. And so that's where my love for 70s disco comes from. But she also, like I said, was really into jazz. So there's a band, I'm not sure if you know them. They're called Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
Yeah, they're great. And there's a specific song on one of their albums called Zorba the Greek. And it's like mariachi mixed with jazz, mixed with a little bit of pop. And I remember hearing it the first time as a kid, and I still to this day like have this memory very much ingrained into my brain. There's a point in the song, so it kind of just starts out like with a nice groove, and there's a point in the song where it almost feels like the song's over, but then it just like kicks back up, and there's so much energy. And I remember like as a kid, like I would hold the handle of the car and like be jumping up and down to the point of like the car is like shaking. And I feel like that's kind of why I mean I love music. I've always loved music, but like that's kind of what I relate back to is like there's just like songs and all these different types of music that can like resonate so much energy and positivity into your life. So I still feel like I mean, I still love them and I still love 70s disco, but that would probably be the first song that I like really remember like loving as a child. That's probably a little bit more unconventional than some other kids.
I love it. Do you
Yeah,
still jump around in the car?
absolutely. Absolutely. I love to dance. I love music. I'm like always out and about. Like, yeah.
I used to live in Los Angeles and I had a convertible car because, Southern California.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was driving down Wilshire Boulevard and I had the top down and I had my iPod going and it was just cranked to the Carpenters, like as
Yep.
loud as you could get it, right?
Yep.
And in LA, it was at that time there was a lot of hip hop and cars that go boom and things. So here I am in my little Volkswagen Cabrio with the top down, just rocking out to the Carpenters. So,
Yep. Yep. I one of my favorite bands still to this day is ABBA.
mm-hmm.
And I remember when I bought my first record player, I had a roommate, and she's like one of my best friends. She lived with me, and I bought this ABBA, I think like one of their like hits records. And I listened to it so much that at one point she was like, "Why do we have to listen to this again and again and again?" I was like, "Because I can't turn it off. Like I love it."
Yeah. And I, of course, having a few years on you,
Yeah.
danced in the clubs to 70s disco.
Oh, that is a dream of mine, honestly.
It was an amazing time because
Yeah.
the DJs would plan out the night.
Right.
And to be fully transparent, they would plan it so that the music peaked at the same time we were all peaking.
Right. Oh, that's when you know that they're professionals.
Yes, exactly. It's like, when
Yeah.
are they going to be highest? Okay, 2 o'clock in the
Okay.
morning. We
All
got
right.
it.
Perfect. This is the time.
Yeah. Um, what are your favorite genres to DJ to? And then what are your favorite genres to dance to if they're different?
Yeah. So what's funny is when I first started DJing, I mean, I wasn't that familiar with like a lot of the different genres of house music. Like I said, I loved disco. I loved house, but I didn't really know like what was my quote unquote sound. So when I started DJing, like once you become, as you probably know, once you become a DJ, you kind of like it becomes your whole life. So I started to listen to a lot of tech house, and it's definitely still my number one genre today. And I think what I like about it so much is that it combines kind of like the styles between techno and house, but there's
Mm.
also like so much you can do with it. I studied abroad in college, so I lived in Spain for 6 months during college. And I remember like I came from a small town during high school. I didn't really have a lot of experience with like culture and like electronic music. And when I went to Spain, there was all this new electronic, like Spanish influence type music and like Latin house too. And
Hmm.
that like completely opened my whole world changed. Honestly, it does to this day. I'm like my whole world changed after being there for 6 months. So now what I think I really love doing is like finding, like tech house songs and either like Latin house or Afro beats and like mixing them and blending them together to kind of create this like really awesome clean cut sound with percussion and groove that just like you wouldn't hear it on a normal day-to-day basis.
Hmm.
And that's probably my favorite genre, and probably what every time I hear a Spanish song, I like lose my mind. Every time I hear a tech house song, I lose my mind. So
I feel like maybe you lose your mind a lot when it comes to
Y-
music.
yeah. I'm as you could say, I feel like I have a lot of energy, and I'm also, I mean, I love music my whole life. I've listened to probably every genre of music out there. I'm like one of those people that like I can't be silent for too long. I need something like to fill. And it's
Hmm.
always been music. So
Yeah, I think we have a lot in common that way. When I used to go to the record stores and buy records or CDs, I would go through every single bin, every single one. And then I'd start to go to the cashiers with like a giant stack, and I'd be like, I can't afford this. And
yeah,
I'd have to go back and like weed them out and just pick the ones that I thought I would like the most.
yeah,
And often I took a chance on different types of music just to see what it was. And that's the same. I think we're twins in that practically with the different genres. I just did a live stream on Monday that was piano and Afro
hmm.
beats.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
will just check it out.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
And so
I
I just
oh, go
keep
ahead.
revolving through all the different genres. What were you
Yeah.
going to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I feel like for me, I also I mean not just music, but like in my life in general, I love trying new stuff.
Mm,
And it applies to music. Like I love listening to music. And even if it's like not my favorite or if it's not something like I resonate towards, I'll at least listen to it. And that's how I kind of end up finding like things that we probably wouldn't normally find.
yeah, exactly. I totally understand that. But now, so you mainly like to dance to house, but you'll play anything? Is that how it
Yeah.
works?
Okay, maybe not drum and bass. I haven't got there yet. Yeah, I mean I would say probably I prefer to play tech house and Latin house and house. But as you probably know, like I think the longer you DJ, the more you get into the techno route. So I'm sure soon enough I'll be like, yeah, all I play is techno and all I listen to is techno. I feel like that's where like everyone gravitates towards.
I don't think I'll ever say that all I'll play is X because I just am too like an omnivore when it comes to music.
Yeah.
But you should check out Liquid Funk. That's a
Okay.
good way to, or Liquid Drum and Bass. That's a good way to get into drum and bass because it's kind of trippy and drum and bass at the same time. And when I first started DJing, I met a DJ out of New Zealand, Zaisha,
Okay.
on Instagram, and we became friends and we're talking. It was during the shutdown and everything, and she played drum and bass, and I would listen to it a little bit of it, and I'm like, nah, I don't know about that. And
Yeah.
I had a bad day at work one day, and I was my go-to for angry music was punk, and I
Okay.
thought, well, let me try this drum and bass. So I got onto Beatport and streamed a couple, streamed a set and was playing it. I'm like, oh, I like this. And now I do drum and bass sets regularly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
careful.
No, it's true though. You never know. I just went and saw because again, I feel like when I first started listening to like let's just say quote unquote electronic music, it was when EDM was really
Hmm.
popular. So super into EDM, like which now is funny looking back because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I used to listen to like Calvin Harris, Tiesto, Avicii, all those huge EDM artists, and like now looking back, I'm like they're great. I mean, they're great artists, but I'm like I don't know if that I like that anymore. I like something with a lot more like groove and
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. But I went to a few weeks ago. Richie Houghton was actually here. They did like a pop up concert in a warehouse here, and
Cool.
it that was yeah, it was straight techno, like dark techno. And when I was there, I was just thinking, man, if somebody would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be in this like dark warehouse and like there'd be all this techno music, I'd be like, there's no way.
Were you dancing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was great.
No, I mean, there's just so much of it. We could talk forever just on genres. I can tell.
Yep.
Because I'd be
Yep.
like, do you know this one? Oh, I
Right.
haven't heard that one. Oh, what
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah. And I also, I always welcome finding new stuff and listening to new stuff. Like if I find something that's like melodic or a little bit like deep house or stuff like I listen to sets all the time, but I'll find something new and I'll be like, that's cool. I don't know what it
Mhm.
is, but I figure out what that is because I like it.
Exclusive here. I'm working on a Southeast Asian and Asian set.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. I
Ooh, I
haven't
can't wait.
I've got a lot of the songs gathered. I just have to sit down and work on them, practice mixing them. But yeah, that's on the list of things to do.
Yep. That's very exciting. Can't wait to hear that.
It'll be interesting if not
Yeah.
if nothing else.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, a Bollywood song won the Oscar for best song this year.
Yep.
So
It's for me, it is so crazy how people find samples like that and can use that to like transform into like dance music. I don't know. It's mind blowing to me sometimes.
yeah, yeah. So we talked about what you like to DJ and dance to, but what genres do you listen to when you aren't DJing? Like I talked to somebody who's been in the field for like 40 years, Paige
Yeah.
Odell, and she was like, when I'm not working, I don't listen to dance music. She's like, if I have to put together a set, then I listen to it. Otherwise, I need to like wash my brain with something else.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I feel like right now because I'm so engrossed in the DJ world, that it's kind of all I listen to, which is funny because my Spotify algorithm is going to be very different from this year to last year. Like before, I used to listen to a lot of, like I said, like 70s rock. I listened to pop, hip hop, kind of indie rock, kind of like all over the map in terms of genre. But now that I'm DJing, I feel like my brain is kind of wired to pick up on songs that I think would be good in a DJ set. So
hmm
like an example is I went to lunch with my friend. I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe it was a few months ago, and we were like mid conversation just talking about something, and all of a sudden like the song came on and I was like, I'm so sorry, I hate to do this, but we need to stop talking because I need to Shazam this because I really like this song and I might need to use it in a DJ set. So yeah, it's kind of my whole life now.
It's an illness at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
it's true though, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Or I hear songs, even songs that aren't dance songs that have a really cool section in them.
yeah.
Half the time when I'm driving and I'm like, "Ugh, how do I Shazam and not kill myself?" It's like,
It's
but there'll be like soul riffs
right.
or like some old 70s song riffs and I'll be like, that would be a good thing to sample.
Oh yeah. I've been
Yeah.
watching when I watch TV now, like old songs that I'm like familiar with, they'll come on and it's like, either like the opener or something like in either a TV show or a movie. And I'm like, hold on, that might be a good sample for a song later down the road. Maybe I'll just save that and like have a little notes and
Yeah,
eventually use
exactly.
that.
I do the same thing. Like I'll stop a show that I'm streaming and rewind if I wasn't able to catch it in time. So
Yep.
just so that I can like Shazam that song. So
Yep.
yeah.
Do you ever get frustrated when you're listening to a really great set and you try to find the song and you can't find it anywhere? Because this has happened to me a lot. And I'm like, oh, I just need to know what this is. Like somebody tell me, like, why can't I find it?
I did that with yeah, I've done that with a lot of songs. Um because probably like you, I like really obscure things sometimes.
Yep.
And uh, and I'll look high and low for it and I'm like, how come I can't find this anywhere? Like it'll piss me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I'll look for like a song. I belong to way too many DJ pools.
Okay.
So it really is a huge problem for me when I cannot find it anywhere.
Hmm.
Like, why can't I find this song on a DJ pool? Why is it
Yeah.
so hard to find it?
Yeah. It is kind of crazy. Or like it sometimes even comes to a point where it's like like an example, I was listening to a set, I think it was a Boiler Room or Mix Mag set, and they were playing like a popular pop song, but there was like it was a really cool remix, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I was like thinking, okay, how do I recreate this? Like, is there some way I can like get the pop song, find a song that sounds like this, and kind of recreate it somehow? Like, it's come to that point.
It might have been a live remix and didn't
Yeah.
exist, like in a track form.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would be a good exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start getting into remixing. I keep a list of things that I want to remix or that I want to do mashups on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I totally feel you on that. Totally
Yeah.
feel you. You know, there is 1001 mixes, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
some DJs will put their mixes up on there, and so
Mm-hmm.
they might have, if you remember who it was at the Boiler Room, they might have it up there.
Okay. Is that like a website?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good,
I've
good
only
tips.
looked at it a couple of times, but what made you decide to be a DJ?
That's a great question. This is a long, like, no, I guess not a long answer, but let's just start from the very beginning.
Let's. I was born
Okay.
in.
Yeah, I was born. So well, it goes kind of back to high school. So I always like am positioned myself and I think that I'm a pretty creative person and I love the creative industry. I love the entertainment industry. I'm an extrovert. I like being kind of not this, I don't have to be the center of attention, but I just like to be in the center of where things are happening. And I did theater in high school. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It was like so great. And then I went to college, and like I said, I studied abroad, and that was an incredible experience. But then after college, I remember I felt like something was missing. So I was like, I don't feel like as an adult I have any ways to be creative or have any ways to like kind of like get that outlet out. So I actually ended up Googling, and this isn't related to DJing, but it's kind of related. So I was like, what if I just try to take like a comedy class or find something in the Metro Detroit area? So I Googled, like comedy classes, and I actually found an improv theater that's in Metro Detroit. And I started taking classes there. So I'm also an improviser. I've been doing improv for probably 5 to 6 years now. And through that community, which is an incredible, incredible community, I met so many wonderful, amazing individuals who are kind of there for the same reasons I am. Like they have all this creativity and all this expression, and they're just like everyone there is like so wonderful and so artistic. So through the community, I met a lot of really great people. Some of my best friends are, still people I met in my intro one improv class, but I met somebody there who's actually now he's my boyfriend, but he's a local DJ, and him and his friends, they also run a nonprofit organization in Hamtramck, Michigan, called Planet Ant, which is where you were a few weeks back. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and for those not familiar with Planet Ant, so like I said, they're a nonprofit organization, but they're an improv theater, but they're also they do music, they do film, they do visual performing arts, and they're really all about promoting artistic freedom and supporting each other and enriching like individuals to network and really bring an idea forward if they have one. Like they're super into inclusivity. They're super into being supportive, and it's a really great group of people. So, anyways, after we started dating, he told me he was a DJ, and I was like, okay, that's great. Like I love music and stuff. And he was like, well, if you're interested in trying it, like I've got some equipment you can play on. So I was like, I mean, okay. Well, I mean, I'll try anything once. Like I said, I love hobbies. I love trying stuff for the first time. And it's funny because he didn't even really help me. He was just like, here's some equipment if you're interested. And I was like, actually, I am interested.
Well,
So
see, I thought you got private lessons.
Well, no, I actually went online. I did my own research. I did a bunch of research to find online trainings. So I found this program. It's called Club Ready, and it's by a man named Andrew Duffield. He's like an Australian producer,
I
DJ.
watch his videos a lot, his new
Yes,
ones. He's great.
he's great. He's fantastic. And I what I like about the videos is like he gives you all the tools you need. He tells you everything you need to know, like how to start as a DJ, how to mix, like how to promote yourself, all this stuff. Um, so it's, I mean, it's been great. Like I took those courses and I've just been like practicing every day. And yeah, it's what's also really great about like my boyfriend's name's Devin, about Devin and his group is they also are, they're DJs, but they have their own house and techno label that they started last year. It's called Good Ground Detroit. And they have kind of the same principles as Planet Amp does. So they're supportive and they combine, they have DJs, they have producers, they have visual effects people, and they're really all about being inclusive and giving, being supportive of others. And if somebody has an idea or if somebody's like, hey, I want to try this out, or I want to try this new sound, or hey, like never DJ'd before, like could I come on one of your guys' shows? Or like absolutely, like they want everyone to feel included and welcome. And so it's been really a wonderful experience, and I'm very thankful for them and just the others in the community. I mean, the community, at least like that, that I'm a part of right now is just, it's also something I think is special too, because right now in the market, there's not really like, it's, you don't really see a record label that's also a bunch of improvisers and people that, that can be like, they have that, side of the business too. So they actually threw a hamburger themed dance party.
I saw some of the pictures on Instagram.
Yep.
That was fun.
So yeah, they do theme parties every month. But it's great. I mean, there's people show up, like everyone dresses up, like everyone's there to have a good time. Everyone's dancing. So it's nice to be a part of something bigger, and like kind of you can have fun and kind of act as a kid as an adult. So it's been great.
And I'm here to say that you rocked it the night that I came.
Thank you.
A great set.
Thank you.
That was a great set.
Thank you. I'm actually playing again this Saturday. So yeah.
I have so much to do.
Oh yeah,
right now. Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, but it's been really fun.
Stops being winter.
So I'll see you in July.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Winter in Michigan. Actually, spring in Michigan, 3 days, and then it's summer.
Right, exactly.
It's a whole new level of unbearable.
I know. Michigan is crazy. I love it here, but this weather is something else.
Are you born and raised Michigander?
Yep.
Got it. No, I moved here from LA.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So that must have been a really big change with the weather.
Well, I'd grown up in Seattle for part of my childhood, so I was not unfamiliar with snow, but I've been 25 years in Southern California, so, the memory faded a little.
Yeah.
So when my first winter, I dressed up like a 5-year-old, like I had so many layers on. If I'd fallen over, I would have never been able to get up. Yeah. And then each year I took a layer off as I got acclimated.
I still dress like a 5-year-old in the winter, so
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, you probably will have some interesting things to say about this question. How did you build your business / market yourself, since you are a marketing professional?
I love this question, and I'm really glad that this is one of the questions.
Are you going to whip out a PowerPoint?
I'm like, okay, here's my deck. This is my business proposal. Everyone look at it. No, what's interesting, and it's funny because like I said, I've been a marketing professional my whole career, but I've never really had something for myself. I've never really had something separate where I have to actually market myself. I've always marketed for other companies or, directly to the consumer. So this is a whole new world for me. But I feel like that's part of the fun of it is it's like first establishing your brand and your brand identity as an artist and who you want to be, and like and being consistent. But I feel like the biggest things are, when you're thinking about branding yourself, is being authentic and, like I said, being consistent. So this is a really fun thing for me to do, because not only do I get to, do something that I love, which is work with music all the time, but also I get to figure out ways that I can market myself, and really like kind of like elevate my brand. And it's also interesting too, because I love reading articles about like artists and like brands and how they market themselves. So like I found this article the other day about Fred Again, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yep.
Yep.
So what's because it was so funny. I was thinking the other day, and I was like, how did he blow up this quickly? Like, where did this guy come from? Like, what is happening? So I was reading this article, and he spent his early years studying classical music, and then he's actually been a very successful producer for like basically his entire career. But then he didn't really blow up with the general public until I think his Boiler Room set, which was last year.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an interesting individual, because he knows how to market. Right? He knows how to market himself. He knows how to resonate with his fans. He does things like he uses like selfies as his cover art for all of his albums. He writes his music kind of like their diary entries. He finds samples from poems, and like gets credit like from, or gets like the poet to like give him access to their vocals. And he will ask fans like what kind of venues they want to, they'd like to see him play at, and then he invites them. So he's super approachable and very relatable, and I feel like that is a really good way to market yourself, because I mean, as human nature, I think everyone just they want to feel included. And if you're thinking about a brand, I mean, the brand isn't about the product or the service you're selling. It's about the experience and how it makes you feel. So if you as an artist can make, your fans feel a certain way and feel like they're a part of something, then, it's a win-win for both. So I found his stuff really interesting. But I mean, obviously I don't have the marketing team that Fred Again has.
Right, but
But
he didn't start with a marketing team. Well, maybe he
that's
did
true.
because he'd been a producer, so maybe he
Yeah.
did have that
Yeah.
kind of connection. But most
Right.
of us don't start with marketing teams.
Right.
But the idea, the takeaway that I got, one tip is to ask people where they want to see you and then invite them to it, because now people feel like at something exclusive. Like I was
Right.
invited to this event.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same thing also with the name, right? Like and this is another reason I picked the name, is because there is a little bit of mystery to it. Like who is DJ PP Girlfriend? Like who is that? That's a name that people go, I gotta check out what she's up to. I gotta see what's going on.
Yeah.
So again, it's just like another way that you can like think about those things, and think about what your audience wants, and being able to cater to them, but to also stay, authentic to yourself. But I mean, I'm still learning every day though. I mean, I am a marketing professional, but this is a whole new world, right?
Exactly. And don't you think that it's a little tough sometimes to market yourself? That it's like,
And
ah, how do I do this? And it's the same thing I think sometimes with like, and this may be like a woman thing sometimes, is that we underbid ourselves,
yep,
right? That we sort of like capitulate to, not not ask for what we think we're worth, or
right,
even like sometimes like in my sort of day job life, over the course of my life, there have been times people were like, oh, can you do consulting for this? And I'm like,
right,
I have no idea how much I would ask for.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, what's the going rate? Like, I don't even know. So it's tough sometimes.
yeah. I
And
mean, in the
especially
market,
when you're starting out and it's not like you can say, I played the Boiler Room, I played,
right,
I played, movement or electric forest or, you know, it's like, well, yeah, I played out, but
I'm like, I've got one mix out, you know.
yeah,
It is funny though. I'll tell you this story. So, um, you know, I'm still a fairly new DJ. I've only played out a few times. I have a few mixes, but I feel like with my social media experience, I have a decent following. It's not crazy, but it's not 20 people. And I was actually hanging out with one of my friends the other day, one of my improv friends, and she was like, "Oh, do you know my friend DJ? I think it was like DJ X or something." She's like, "Oh, I work with her. You guys follow each other on Instagram." And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't like. I'm just like trying to like gather my following and everything. And she was like, "Oh, it's funny because when I mentioned you and told her that I knew you, she was like, oh, she seems like she's been DJing for like years, just based off of her socials and her website and all this stuff." And I was like, that goes to show you, like you can DJ for 6 months, you can DJ for 6 years, you can DJ for 40 years, but if you can't market yourself or like be able to do those things, like you're only gonna get so far. So
yeah. And nowadays it's all social media. I drew the
you know
line though at like I'm Instagram is the main page,
you know
Facebook is the other one, and TikTok I just can't. I just
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
And they're going to ban it anyway, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and also there's so much information out there too. There's so many social media platforms. It's like, I for me, I feel like it's like, okay, I'll focus on one first, see how that's going, and then start to kind of dip my toes in the other one too. Like I have a Facebook, I have a TikTok, um, but I feel like at least focusing on one first and trying to build that and then kind
yeah.
of working in the other ones. I mean, at least that's kind of what's working for me right now, but who knows? We'll see as time goes on.
Yeah, I've been getting steady um like every week I think I add somebody new. And interestingly, a lot of producers end up following me, and I'm not sure why. But it's
Hmm.
great to know because I want to produce at some point. So it's
Yep.
good to have people like that in your back pocket. You should follow a woman, Claudio.
Okay.
She's in Australia and she's a producer and she makes amazing music.
Okay. I definitely will check her out.
Yeah, I can send you her information.
Yeah, please do.
Um, so this is kind of a funny question. You're gonna crack up. What beginner's mistakes did you make that you wished you'd known more about at the time? So like 5 minutes ago, what
So
was
yeah, so
the
like right before the interview.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't have as much experience as other people that are doing it a while, but I think the biggest thing for me, at least right now, and like I would say, quote unquote, mistakes, is just making sure that I have patience and being consistent in the learning process. I think as when you're starting off as a beginner DJ, and there's so much information out there, and there's so many incredible and talented DJs. You're watching their sets, and you're like, man, I wish I was that good, or man, I wish I could like get there. It's hard sometimes not to feel discouraged by that because you're just like, oh man, like, like how come I can't do those things right now? But I feel like it's kind of, it's all part of the learning process. And the biggest challenge is like you take chances and feel and just know like you're good enough. It just takes time to,
Yeah.
develop those skills and own those skills. And, I feel like it's all about the right attitude, it's about the right attitude and having patience and just not comparing yourselves to others. At least that's what I feel like, and it's probably the same too with people that have been in the industry for 20 years, right? Like people in the industry for 20 years, and somebody comes in new, and they're probably like, "Oh no, like what am I doing wrong?" But it's just try not to compare yourself to others because everyone is unique and individual in their own way.
I like to watch DJs. I watch James Hype a lot.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
he like I can never ever move that fast.
yeah, it is crazy.
Or manage 4 decks. I don't think that's a possibility, but
Yeah,
he's just so what I appreciate about him is that no matter what tricks he's doing, there's always one track that's holding the beat down so
yeah,
you can always dance.
yeah.
You can always keep dancing.
Yeah.
And that's like some people, you know, they get creative. Like scratching's amazing to watch, but you
Oh
can't
yeah.
dance to it.
Mm-mm.
And so to and then sometimes people get like crazy on the samples I had or on the sound effects. I've been
Yep.
known to go a little crazy sometimes and having to back up off of it. But I just want to dance. Like
Me
just play the
too.
music
Right.
and 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 let me dance. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of James Hype, I'm pretty sure he's coming to Detroit next or the end of this month. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel
the
like
end
he
of this
is.
month?
I think so.
If
I
it's
think
April
he's
1st, I am so upset because I have a gig that night.
I'll look it up after this, but
If
I
it's
feel
April
like
1st, you got to, I don't know,
he's
maybe I'll
coming
come
to,
after
I
the
think,
gig or something.
yeah, it's either, I'm pretty sure he's coming to like Electricity in Pontiac.
Mm.
Yeah, he's high on my list to see.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing. He's
Yeah, oh, yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Um, so, what do you feel that your greatest achievement has been up to this point as a DJ?
It's a good question. 5 minutes
Putting two
ago when I
tracks
started.
together.
I mean, yeah, it's true. When you do it for the first time, you put two tracks together. It's like my mind was blown the first time it happened. But I feel like for me, it's the biggest achievement that I had was actually getting in front of a large crowd
Mhm.
and feeling the energy that you're creating, you know, as the center of it all. You know, it's very different atmosphere to go from being quote unquote a bedroom DJ and playing by yourself for hours and hours to actually going into a very large and very loud room where it's like you like there's a point where I was like, is this too loud? Like is this right? Because I feel like this is so loud. But I don't know. There's something really rewarding and really great about seeing how your music can affect people's mood, their energy, and through the set. You know, like I mean, I'm sure when you have those little moments of like when you find a really good blend of music together, but then it also is like bringing all this energy and like excitement to the people on the dance floor. To me, I feel like that's the most rewarding part of it all.
Yeah, when you're like all connected at the same time. Like
Yeah.
you're vibing off this great mix that you just
Yep.
did, and they're vibing off the great mix you just did too.
Yep. You're
It's
like this
great.
is yeah. It's like you're like in sync with them. It's yeah. It's really great.
Let's see. The next one. How do you keep the music and DJing fresh for yourself?
Yep. It's a good question because listen to a lot of DJ related music now.
Yeah.
So for me, I think, and I kind of mentioned this before with the tech house and the Latin house stuff, but I think I get what it keeps it the most fresh for me and like avoiding the burnout, so to speak, is when you find two songs that would normally not go together at all. Like you would never, you're thinking about you know, like a Claude Von Stroke song, or you're thinking about a Fisher song, or you're thinking about something that's like super popular, but then you find something that like no one's ever heard of, if it's like a
Mm-hmm.
Latin bass song or a 70s disco song, and like blending them together and not just to mix in and out, but like actually blending them together for like half the song or more than half the song. Like those little moments for me are probably like the most special in all of this. Um, when I find those things of like, okay, these perfectly match up and these sound really great together, like that for me keeps the rush, you know, and then also, you know, just finding new music every day and seeing things that work and seeing things that don't work and getting those little moments. That's pretty much I feel like what drives me from, you know, avoiding that burnout and keeping it fresh.
Yeah. I I love those happy accidents too, where
Yeah.
you put two songs together and maybe you haven't heard the whole other track, right? You've heard enough of it to go, "Oh, I like this."
Yep.
And then you bring in this other track and it just happens to work perfectly. Like there's the same little like I'm always interested in these little sounds, these little like beep kind of things,
Yeah.
like Roddy Rich with the
Hmm.
box,
Oh,
right?
yep.
Right? And And so those little chirpy sounds, I'll gravitate toward those. Or if there's like one word in one song, and then I put on the line up the next track, and it's got the same word in it, and it wasn't planned. It just
Yeah.
happened.
Yep. I've been finding in like songs, I'll just take like a loop of some part of it that I really like. And it's sometimes the vocal, but sometimes it's not. And then like just like blending that with something else. And I'm just kind of letting them ride out. I'm like, this sounds awesome.
Yeah. I know. I remember the first time when I kind of did that, and I'm like, I'm making music.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing this? I think I'm doing this.
And then when I listen back to my sets, sometimes I'm like, did I do this, or was this
I
built into
know.
this song?
I know. Because sometimes you don't know. And that's what's really funny too, is like when you start, and I feel like, to the normal person, the normal ear, like they're like, oh yeah, it's the song playing. But now as a DJ, I'm like, oh yeah, there's the echo effect. Oh yeah, they've got a reverb on this. Oh yeah, here's another vocal. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's both technical and creative at the same time. I really love that part of it.
Absolutely. There's definitely a science behind it.
So many things, so many tech things to learn. It's
I
like,
know.
how do I hook this up again?
Oh, I know.
I have all this production stuff, and I just am like, there's so many manuals to read just to turn it on.
I know.
I'm not there yet.
I know. That's why I have to do like online tutorials or that kind of stuff, because I'm a very visual learner. So if I have to read a manual, I'm like, this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like if I watch videos or like other people showing me how to do it, like I learn a lot faster that way.
Yeah. Actually, his Club Ready DJ, he did a reel on mixing with like all the EQs, like turning them all down, having them on
Yeah.
kill and turning them all down. And I
Yeah.
just did this last Monday just from
Hmm.
watching his reel. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this is good.
Yeah, he has a whole. I mean, I highly recommend it if you're, the training videos. He has a ton of videos on YouTube too, but like he goes through everything and he shows you how to mix different genres of music. He shows you how to set your cues up. He shows you like how what he does, and I don't know. It's been incredibly helpful for me.
I'm going to look into it because I've watched a
Yeah.
lot of his free videos.
Yeah, it's a great program. I highly recommend it. And what's awesome too is they have a whole community, so you can submit a mix. They have a Club Ready Radio. You can send in a mix personally to Andrew. As a student, you get access to kind of their student portal, their Facebook group. So there's also a lot of community in that too, which I like.
Oh, cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? What have been your biggest challenges in the business? And what do you think are the biggest challenges for women DJs in general? And maybe,
Yeah.
because you're so new, you might not have had a lot of the things happen that some women DJs talk about, or women who are in the club environment in general.
Yeah, I'm sure I can imagine. Yeah, we we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I mean, again, I'm a beginner. I haven't been doing it for that long, but I think probably the biggest challenge, at least for a beginner, is just starting out. Like you've got the tools, you have the training, okay, you're doing it, but then where do you start? How do you market yourself? How do you put a press kit together? How do you get out there? And like, how do you take those chances and like be, like welcome growth and welcome failure and all those things. I mean, I feel like being a woman in a male dominated industry, and I work in automotive now, it's challenging, right? Like, I don't think that being like, I don't think that men realize sometimes like they do things or say things that for a female, like we just have different issues and things that we have to deal with that men just don't have to. Like it's a very male dominant industry and it can be intimidating if you don't understand your boundaries, but you don't also like if you don't speak up for yourself. it's the same thing at, in any career, right? You're going to have to deal
Mhm.
with sexual harassment. You're going to have to deal with people that are DMing you weird messages. You're going to have to deal with being at the club with and not everyone's like that, right? But I think as a female, you have to kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're starting off in any industry, and especially the music one, on, what will you accept? What will you not accept? And if a situation comes up and you're uncomfortable, like, you have to speak up. um, I think as somebody I try to be vocal about things, because I think I have a lot of, I'm very grateful for the privileges that I have, but, a lot of people don't have that voice, and they
Mhm.
can't speak up if something, if something goes wrong, or that sort of thing. So I don't know. I know it's definitely probably it's a challenge, right? And I don't think that's just the DJ industry. I think that's really any industry, or in life in general. But
Exactly.
it's our, as women and as supporters of community, and our, not just us, but any group out there. It's our job to speak up and to voice when things aren't right, because otherwise, no one else is going to do it. So.
Exactly. And there's a lot of things not right currently.
Oh, I know. Yep,
It's a full-time job.
absolutely. But
Um,
I,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think as a society, we are obviously it's still not great, right? There are still a lot of issues that are prevalent to today, but I think, again, thankfully, with social media and things like that, that those are outlets given to people to be able to speak up and voice their opinion, and let their opinion be known. So that's good that we're moving, maybe slowly, but we are moving towards something. Hopefully one day it would be nice if we could, if things could be equal for everyone, but
Exactly.
unfortunately right now it's just not.
It's a
So
little
at least my
crazy.
job is to say, no, that's not right. Stop.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, d- have you started looking into producing music or anything?
Yeah, good question. I want to produce. I'm very excited. I actually found, I'm all about programs. I found a program on, Toolroom. So it's called Toolroom Academy. They have it's a 3-month certificate course for producing. And at the end of the course, you have a Toolroom track or a tech house track. But I want to make sure that I have the dedicated time for it. So I
Right.
haven't started it yet, but it's definitely, I think it's on my, I like to write down my goals every year. It's in my goals for this year to at least start producing, because I think that's a really nice way to, I mean, one, be very, very creative, because you are creating your own
Yep.
music, but also, for my producer friends and the people I talk to, it's so helpful, learning how to produce makes you a better DJ. Learning how to DJ makes you a better producer. So, yeah, it's on the docket.
I have all the equipment. I just don't have the time yet.
You'll get it. Yeah,
2 more years and I'm retired. Then
right,
I'm going to be
right.
an international DJ, music producer, and a novelist, and an
Absolutely.
inspirational speaker.
Yep. The
I'm going to
next
go out with a bang.
Absolutely. We'll do our next webcast. We're gonna be on some remote island. You're gonna be like, yeah,
There you
I
go.
just played in Bora Bora, and
We're on my yacht right now.
you know.
um, okay, now it's time for the lightning round.
Uh-oh.
Favorite track right now and why?
Oh man.
What's the one you have
Ooh,
to have in every set?
that's a really good question. Um, there is a track by Jay Wara. Do you know Jay Wara? Yep.
Sounds
I
familiar,
think,
yeah.
yeah. I think it's called Chunk Funk, and it's really groovy. I love it. And what's really really funny is I did not know that Jay Wara was a woman. Um, yeah, I did not know, because because some of her songs, they have male vocals in them. So I never thought about it, and then one day I think I saw an interview or something, and I was like, of course I like her. Like, of course. Like, yeah, it's a very good track. Yeah.
She has almost a DJ PP Girlfriend name.
She does. Almost. Not quite, but almost.
Okay, next one. What's your favorite piece of equipment and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I just bought, I think I bought about a month ago. I bought the Pioneer DDJ, the 4FLX. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like the mini, yeah, it's like the mini controller. Because before, when I was kind of like setting all my cues and everything, I was just doing it on my laptop and I was just like playing the songs and being like, I think that works. So I was like, you know what, I will spend the investment and buy the, and it's so, when it came in, I was like, I love little stuff. Like I'm very into like little like figurines and like little like can't like all little stuff I like for some reason. And it's so tiny. It's like this big, and like the jog wheels are really tiny and the buttons, and I'm like, this is perfect. I love this.
I actually have a DDJ 400 because that was
Oh,
the
okay.
cheapest. That was the cheapest I could to get some experience with club gear
Right.
because it's laid out, kind of the same, not
Yeah.
exactly, but kind of the same. And I actually have a Newmark DJ2 Go 2 that
Okay.
is literally 14 inches long.
Really?
Yeah, and like 4 inches wide.
Oh my gosh. You have to
You're gonna
send me a
need that
picture.
because
Yeah,
that is,
absolutely.
but it's so cool because it will literally fit like right over the like trackpad area of
Okay.
your computer. And I
Yeah.
use that when I'm like, oh, I don't want to go into the studio and get everything
Right.
set up. I just want to like mess around. And so that stays in the living room, right? So that if I want to do something, I can just whip that out and plug it in with my iPad and do a little mixing and stuff.
Yeah, you have to have equipment in every room of the house. I mean,
Pretty
if
much,
not,
yeah.
what are you
I
doing?
mean, I should be able to just turn around and be able to start DJing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I have like a little office, and I've got my little controller, and it just kind of like sits over here. So I'm like working, and then I'm like, I have an hour break. Should I just like play mess around? And I was like, okay, I'll just play around for. I'm like, oh no, I have to get back to work.
Exactly. 2 hours go by. Whoops.
I know, I know.
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed too when the set's going really well, because I live stream every week, and for a while I was doing it twice a week, and I think at one point I was doing it 3 times a week even, and some days there'd be a tech issue that had got me all flustered at the beginning, or maybe I just wasn't like vibing with the music, and it just like, oh, well, the 2 hours ever end. And then sometimes I'm so in the zone, I look up
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I only have 5 minutes left. Whoops. I almost went over.
Yeah, I feel like when I'm preparing a set for the first time is when I'm super into it. I'm like, okay, how do I mix this in? Or like, what am I doing here? And then like after I've played it like 10 times, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I usually, like, I think I'm up to 36 genres now that I've played at least 2 hours worth of time, like a 2 hour
Yeah,
set on. And I think that's part of the reason, besides the fact that we've already established we just both love all kinds of music. So, besides that, to help me stay excited, I like to learn new genres and explore them. And then sometimes I'll go back to an old set, like maybe, it was a busy weekend, I didn't have time to practice. I'll go back to an old set I played and I'll replay it. But I always add something new. Like
yeah,
it's never the same twice because I'm just
yeah,
there are certain songs though that I know now go really well together. So
right.
if I'm going to have that one song in there, I got to have the other one because they just match
Absolutely.
so well. Um, Favorite self-care technique?
Oh my gosh. Self care for music or self care in general?
Either or both.
Um, Sleep. I am a crazy person when it comes to sleep. Like I have to have 8 hours. I can't have less than 8 hours. I can have a little bit more than 8 hours, but if it like gets to 9, 10, I'm too tired. I feel like I have a lot of energy, but the only reason I do is because like I take care of myself, I eat healthy, and I get my sleep. So the nights that I'm DJing late or I'm out late, like at some, something, like I have to recover from that for like 3 days.
Well, DJing, no, I used to stay up till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning in the clubs.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, when I got sober, I remember thinking, how did I used to stay up so late? And I went, oh, right. I
Oh,
remember
right.
now.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
There was a
Okay.
little
Yep.
assistance involved there.
I
And
think. Yeah.
and so now I'm getting in, I'm like about to turn 64 and I'm getting into, I want to be a club DJ. And
Right.
I'm like, life really does come full circle. I'm going to be staying out till like 6 or 7 in the morning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nothing good happens after about 2 a.m. Or if my case, if it's during the week, like nothing good happens after like if I'm not in bed by 11 p.m. I'm like, okay, well, my whole day's ruined tomorrow.
Well, it depends on your definition of good. There are
Yeah.
some very good things that happen after 2 a.m.
You know what? That is a great point. Yeah, I take that back.
That's when it starts to get real fun.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Um, okay. Favorite woman DJ and why?
Oh. Ooh, I love this question. Um, I would probably have to say Honey Dijon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I
She's great.
she's great. I mean, her and I've listened to the set on honestly probably like 100 times, is her Sugar Mountain Boiler Room
Mm-hmm.
set. Yep. But I think what I love so much about her is, I mean, she is a pro through and through, right? She's been in the industry for a very long time, but she also came, she's from Chicago, so and she grew up in a time where like, that seems like, I mean, it's hard to be a DJ now as a woman, but like even back when she was coming up, like it must have been incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And her style of music is, what's so great about it is like, she is a mostly house music DJ, but she keeps the groove going. And like there's not one point in any of her sets where you're like, okay, well, I'm bored. Like it's
Yeah.
just from
Time to
the
go get a
very
drink.
yeah, no, like you can't. Like listening to her sets, I'm sitting there and like every time I'm kind of like it's just like the whole set is just like it's just got so much rhythm and so much groove, and like she is a professional and I absolutely love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. I think she just put a whole new album out recently.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the final question, based on the theme song, you gotta be what?
Oh. Let me see. Was it like I gotta be or like you gotta be like
No, like
anyone?
you.
Um, let's see. I think I would say I gotta be, or you gotta be true to yourself. Like when I think about myself and the kind of person I am, I think about like staying true to myself, knowing who I am, knowing my weaknesses, knowing my strengths, and using both of those to my advantage. I'm a very positive person, and at least I like to think so. I like I said, I love being out. I love people, but I also know there are things about myself that I'm not a huge fan of all the time. But like knowing those parts, that's what makes
Mm-hmm.
me me. Like the good, the bad, the ugly, the sad, all of it. Like that's who defines me, and that's who I want to be. Is true to myself, and yeah. Oh, also a great DJ, but
Well, yeah, you
make
gotta be a
millions of
great DJ.
dollars. Yeah.
That's one of the lyrics in the song. You gotta be a great DJ.
I know.
Well, thank you so much, DJ PP Girlfriend.
Thank you.
Gotta
This
tell you, it
was
doesn't roll off the tongue. But
you'll
I'll
get
practice it.
you know what, you'll get used to it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so this will be airing on the last Sunday of the month.
Okay.
For everybody listening, it will be airing on my YouTube channel, and I'll be posting about it on Instagram.
Awesome. I will tune in.
Sounds great.